Welcome, folks, to the Sacred Lovisa podcast on Sunday Night Podcast. Apologies for running late. We had to put some clips together last minute for you guys, so that's why we're about 50 minutes late tonight. But we have a great show for you. We have a interview with some updates from Jaguar's mother, Jaguar Butler, who was unlawfully taken, supposed to have been returned on, I believe, April 5th of this year. Never was returned, and so he is unlawfully being held. And so we have her giving us some updates, and then we also have a brand new introduction. We have Jen's fun facts that we're going to play for you today, and she's got a little intro of some fun facts that she's going to read for us for the intro, and then we'll segue into Jaguar's mom's interview, and then we will go from there into Desiree's presentation, and then finally a roundtable. So don't forget to check out the News for Us World and other corresponding pages that we cross post to. Follow those, and make sure you like and follow, but follow for sure, because that's how you'll get updates. And check out the Bonfire store, bonfire.com/FU Family Court, or so FU-family-court. And also, you can get yourself one of those the box mugs for Angie's upcoming premiere podcast she'll be doing soon. And then also, finally, we have bonfire.com/store/just-TD, just teed, and you can get all this merchandise here. And all the funds go to the CPS and Family Court Corruption Victims Fund. Oh, shit. You know what? I forgot to go live on Facebook. Hold on one second, folks. Sometimes that happens. Come on now. Streaming. All right, here we go. All right, sorry about that, folks. I had to go stream, and I forgot to go live on Facebook and Telegram. So let's run that down again one more time. Welcome to the Sacred Lovisa podcast, July 24th, 2022. Today we have a special show for you. We have updates we have an interview with Jaguar Butler's mother. She's going to give us some updates on her case. Basically, her son Jaguar Butler was unlawfully taken, and it's still being unlawfully held after the case was dismissed, and he was supposed to have been returned on April 5th, 2022, and he has as of yet not been returned to date. So we have that going on, and we have a 30-minute interview with her, giving some updates. We're trying to get her on the live, but she always has issues with the live, so we did a pre-recorded interview with her earlier today for you guys, just in case. So we will be playing that. And we have Jen's Fun Facts, which is a brand new edition. She'll be introducing, she has a little a couple minute segment where she introduces and reads us some fun facts that she has found for us, you, our viewers. So let's begin. So don't forget to go to our all our Facebook pages and make sure you follow. You can like, but make sure you follow if you want to get notifications for our lives. Also, check out our YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, Telegram channels. Subscribe to those as well, and check out the Bonfire store. Support the CPS and Family Court Corruption Victims. Bonfire.com/FU-family-court. That's the first one. You can get yourself a nice little the box mug here, which is going to be the upcoming podcast that Angela and a few other ladies will be putting together for us in the near future when she decides to launch that. This is bonfire.com/store/just-teed, TD, just teed. And you get all this merchandise that you see here as well. And all the money that is made from this goes to the CPS and Family Court Corruption Victims Fund. We do not profit from any of it. Therefore, all of our content is covered under fair use. That being said, let's begin. So we got some updates for you. Oh, that was a pretty good intro, I think. What do you think, you guys? I like that. I've been wanting to do that bonfire video for a minute, and I just finally got it done today.
Fantastic.
Cool. So so we got some updates for you guys, but first we're gonna play Jen's Fun Facts, which is really good. I'm really gonna enjoy this because she did put together some nice little info for us about some odd and weird laws that are around several different states. So here we go. Let me share screen, and then we can show everybody. Okay.
Here are the 50 crazy, dumb, and funny laws in all 50 states. I'm only going to go over a few. In Massachusetts, no dancing to the national anthem. It is prohibited to dance to the Star-Spangled Banner in Massachusetts, thanks to an excessively patriotic 1917 law. While you try to ponder what such a dance would even look like, find solace in the fact that this law could never be enforced, thanks to a slightly waiver. In the state of Indiana, proper black cat etiquette on Friday the 13th. In the municipality of French Lick Springs, all black cats must wear bells around their necks on Friday the 13th. The rule was introduced on October 13th, 1939 as a war to alleviate mental strain on the populace and has technically been in effect since. In the state of Nevada, be selective with x-rays. Say what you will about the vice and commercialism of Las Vegas. At least they're looking out for your feet. In Nevada, it is illegal to use an x-ray device to determine someone's shoe size. In the state of California, no nuclear weapons, obviously. It is illegal to build, maintain, or use a nuclear weapon within Chico, California city limits, a law that began in the 1980s as a serious anti-nuke statement, has taken on a second life as an internet joke, mainly due to the purported consequences. In addition to self-annihilation, the infraction also carries a $500 fine. In the state of Missouri, Tarzan's not welcome. Prankish Tarzans be warned. In University City, Missouri, it is illegal to swing upon another person's motor vehicle and honk their horn for them. In the state of Arizona, no spitting in public. In the town of Goodyear, Arizona, it is unlawful to spit in or on any public building, park, sidewalk, or road. Offender may be charged a fine of up to $2,500 and 6 months in prison. And in case you need a reminder, it's also just a Lovisa etiquette. In the state of Alaska, no getting drunk in a bar. In Alaska, it is illegal to be drunk in a bar. Per state law, a person who is already drunk may not knowingly enter a bar to drink more or remain in the bar that got them drunk in the first place. Confusing and cruel. Yes, outdated. Sadly, no police actually enforce it. Mom, how are you doing, hon?
Well, as long as my...
What you just heard was Jen's fun facts, and that was her first attempt at that. She did a great job, I think, and we look forward to having more from her in the future. So let's this is in the interview with Jaguar's mom, Shaunes, Shaunes, I believe is pronounced.
Thank you,
I'm not going to say the
Stephen.
last name for privacy's sake, so that her identity is protected. But anyway, so everybody knows who she is. Here's her interview earlier today.
As long as my child missing, it is no way to say, it's not where, I'm doing what I can to keep my strength and
Right.
definitely renew it. I'm fine. Edward Brook Courthouse, raid, rescue, release. I have shirts for $30. I have hoodies for $30. My child's supposed to be back on April 5th, 2021. Helen A.B. Brown. Helen A.B. Brown has not been able to be of any contact. I've contacted the Massachusetts Black Lawyers Association, where she is secretary. We've called the house. We have gotten there and also sent emails that have came back rejected. Edward Brook Courthouse have gotten there and put a gateway and blocked any blockages. They got there and blocked the Boston City Council from having any phone calls from numbers that we called from, along with the whole Brook Police Department when my child was at a GAPE. And I've been informed that my child left a GAPE approximately about February of this year. Their contract did not get renewed, and they said that there was abuse going on at a GAPE. When the police department called me back, these traffickers got there and intercepted the 911 system there in Holbrook, Massachusetts. There's also been a report that's been on the local news stations there in the New York area, New York area, where this Manhattan couple. It needs to be investigated if they're connected to Gretchen Zoe Medina, Cheyenne Padoma. They both of them used two birthdays. One used October 8th, 1982, and that's what Gretchen Zoe Medina used. And then she used also December 8th, 1986. And then Shaunes Perdomo is using April 23rd, 1996. And she's also has the birthday of March 14th, 1994. Her mom name is Teresa. The first one that was involved with this case here, I have to call out all their names that are involved with this case. I do have proof that they're involved with this case here. There's no, Shaunes Perdomo is using a deceased person that died in 2020. There was an acquaintance of hers in North Carolina named Patricia Taxi. She's not a social worker. She's a licensed social worker, and there's nowhere on records through the social work department, Department of Labor, even though this has been reported by multiples of this information and private background investigation. Don't know why we're not able to get the sisters Joan, Peterkin, and Clark. That surely has to be investigated of her. To say that she's a supervisor, she's very unkept. She has a very biohazard scent on her. She has a hair very unkept. With Rodretta Sharika Evans. That's also, she has a tax business which would come as a conflict of interest and suspicion due to the transactions and interactions that she does. She has Am Hill Family Center where she does tax services, and they consistently I have also found out with this information that they have asked others for their social security number, and unfortunately some of them have gotten out of compromise, giving their social security number. When do you need a social security number for a case that solely is about my child and mine? And they definitely have no access to illegally and pulled a credit report on me. They have illegally her stalk, and we have advocates missing for several months. There's severe telecommunication interference that is going on. Mm-hmm. And so I'm naming everyone that's, it's not everyone because there's so many of them involved with this matter that we'll definitely be on. But definitely these are the ones to start with. And I have been definitely to the FBI and to I've been to agencies everywhere to check about the latest, the Manhattan couple that got arrested. They were kidnapping. They were kidnapping people to steal their ID and their birth certificate and social security card. And those people, when they got free, they reported. And I got there and was giving them more names of these people. And they said it was connected to Massachusetts and several other states. I know I have reported over 1,000 names. They say if you see something, say something, even if you have a little evidence reported. It has not did me any good within the last year. All that I have reported, all the incidents that continually happen, my child being illegally held when he was supposed to be returned back April 5th, 2021. He's going to all these foster homes and being in the school system, and these people are scared of these people because information is being given behind the scenes. Some of these people are coming up missing. And even when you report the information, well, this here and that is happening, nothing is not even being honored. You're getting sent around on a runaround from department to department, call this number, call that number. It is beyond a shame what is happening. And it continues to happen. And I'm encouraging everyone, what is kids? You must share. I have shirts, the YouTube channel, Return Jaguar, which has been shadow banned. There's no way with a mother putting about a missing child that there should be there shouldn't be no less than 20,000 views, really. But really, there's nothing but, if I get 20 views, they should be viewing.
Well, you would think that people would take it seriously about a missing child, but that like everybody should be out, helping, look for the child. And it sounds like they're trying to hide and keep you from getting it out there, getting the truth out there.
Yes, they're trying to my child.
Yes, and you mentioned something about that he is deaf or something, and about phone calls. I didn't catch that part when you first came.
Okay, my child is legally deaf, but I've had some people say that they've been getting calls, and my child name has been used as to calling them. And I said, well, what range was his voice? So even though he could say something, we barely can hear each other from the way that we talk and the range that we talk on this phone, and it's being intercepted. I said, well, my child legally deaf, so are you able to clearly hear him? Well, he sounds like he's doing better. And I said, well, how much better? Because the last, I had the picture that I have from the last Zoom hearing, my child kept saying the word ice cream, ice cream. He was severely drugged and doped up on video conference. I seriously doubt for a legally deaf child, and from the last video conference I had for him, which was approximately in July 2021, that he's speaking as me and you talking. When sometimes when we talking, we not able to fully clear each other. But I've got that message. That report from others that's saying that it's someone calling them saying that they're my child, and they ask them, well, have you spoken to your mother? And they say, yeah. Well, he know he hasn't spoken to his mother, and it's not many people. I mean, maybe some that sound like me, but he wouldn't. Like, why would he like it just does not make sense of what a lot was going on. A lot of them that have been asked for their social security number, their birth certificate. Some of them did supply it. That's what's happening. Many and like some of these people don't even know each other, and they're also reporting.
Is it just that he doesn't hear some tones, or does he hear? I'm just wondering how they're making it seem like he's calling people like we're talking. Like I said, what I say is they're gonna have to get there. Like I suspect they didn't use my child for some type of sacrifice where they didn't draw DNA for him, and no telling what other activities or rituals that they have done with my child, especially with the the different coincidences that is going on. I don't know what didn't happen, and I also was informed that they have given my child anxiety and nerve medicine. There have been people that have quit at these various places that my child has been at due to the immorality and disorder was going on at several of these facilities. And I've got a question for you. So you said that he appeared to be drugged. Like, can you kind of explain that? Because it's, how did that look to you?
The picture is on a shirt. If you go to the YouTube channel, Return Jaguar with the QRET. URN JAQUAR. And so we have the hashtag Return Jaguar, hashtag Return with a QRG. Is definitely. I'm also the one that is also contributing and the raw concept of the hashtag Bear Witness. So that's another hashtag where there'll be updates about my son. But we're going to primarily use hashtag Return Jaguar, hashtag Return Jaguar. You can go on Eventbrite, and much that is not shadow banned, and pull up all the ways I'm seeking people to do billboards, to sponsor that on the highway, to also do videos, sharing of my child like they're doing on the, it doesn't matter what platform it does, but how they do it on the TikTok. They use various photos, and definitely advocating for everyone to get involved about my child being missing and lost and trafficked through Massachusetts. And he's been, like I say, in at least about 5 different institutions. And when I didn't even know where my child was the first time, when I got a video conference and my child hair was pulled. You could not tell with the raising of my child. He's been with me since conception. That's a child I can see because they love to ask the question. It's like it's some things you have to deal with when they ask you, and I have to specifically say it, even though it may not make sense to people. My child has been with me since conception.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. Let's help her get Return Jaguar home to his mother. I believe that he put your Return Jaguar, all the information in the box so everybody could see it. If not, then I'm sure he'll add it. I think you did. I think I saw it. So we need to work a lot more, harder to help you. Like,
Yes,
it takes everybody.
I need assistance with people being able to go up there and properly go get the, people have had a hard time, to get the, when I went to go get the paperwork before the April 5th court date after the March 29th, where the judge said that we were anti-jurisdiction and non-residents Helen A.B. Bryant at Edward Brook Courthouse, that's on New Sharon, that's by the Haymarket Transit. She said that we should go make, they would not keep my child. We anti-jurisdiction and non-resident. When I went to go get those papers between March 29th and April 5th, the vehicle that I was in was vandalized. The papers that they was attempting to take when they kidnapped my child, they was able, so coincidentally, they got taken away. But the bin, a big bin that had food in it, and that wasn't taken. My child book sack with his art supplies, my jewelry, all kind of documents. Those books that were taken, but the bin with the food and the items in there were left behind, along with the window broken in the video. And I suspected, and I reported, the police refused to do a police report saying, well, you have to name every item that was taken. I said, well, what sense that makes? I wasn't able to get any assistance and was given a run around there, and I suspected they some kind of way either put an old cell phone or iPod that I was not able to trace, even with being advised that that's possibly suspected. And I've been had now it's becoming a trend now, but I reported last year when this had happened, because it happened like within a day, I'm gonna say 1 to about 4 days after I went to the courthouse. Just coincidentally, only my vehicle out of all the vehicles, and it wasn't a luxury vehicle, it was an old vehicle, was vandalized. They left the food there, so it wasn't a homeless person or somebody hungry. It had to be somebody specifically targeted, and then the police refused to write up a report of the items and told me I had to name every item that was taken in order to file a report, and that it wasn't worth filing a report because it would be nothing but a misdemeanor. Hey, are we still on the line? No. Hello?
No, we're still here. I had my mic muted, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I was told by the police department where I was, and they had to have an AirPod because they had to have an AirPod to trace me an old cell phone, what I was advised by others to look for. I was told, well, it wouldn't even be worth writing a report because it would be nothing but a misdemeanor. I said, so you tell me important items of mine have been stolen out of the vehicle, and I said it wasn't a homeless person, because a homeless person would have took the food, would have touched the food items and took the chips and took those items if it was a homeless person, even though it's a bad area. And I said, well, why they didn't get more than one vehicle? Only the vehicle that I had in that vehicles, and it was only I checked to see if the other blocks before and after me if they had vandalized vehicles, and it was only the vehicle that I was in.
Yeah, they targeted you then. They targeted your vehicle then.
Yeah, it's very suspect. It's very suspect. Yeah. Edward Brook Courthouse. I don't even call them a house because nothing is a house about them. But Edward Brook Court must be. They must be raided. They must be ruined, and they must be rambled on. This here makes no sense of kidnapping our children for their lollygag or whatever shucking and jiving rituals that they have to entertain themselves. There's other things they can do to entertain themselves, including play in traffic, especially since they are traffickers.
Yep, they need to find another form of entertainment. It's not, our children are not for them to play.
Yeah, our children are not entertainment.
Nope. No, they are not. They belong to us. They are our offspring, and we're the only ones with the constitutional rights for them. They don't even have rights to have them. Oh, God.
And they're talking really, the ones of us I don't have any drug history. I've taken care of my child to where you couldn't even tell whether we was poor or rich. That, that's why some people trying to figure out, my child was very clean. My child was, even though my child was legally deaf, my child, had very much, scholastics where he was very taught, but due to him being ADA, it's a lot of things that he perfectly, won't be perfect at, but he was on scholastic level, even above scholastic level, even though he was legally deaf and autistic.
Right. Well, and that's just something that you have to just find another way to teach them or to communicate. It's not the traditional way that we're used to, and that's okay. I had a disabled child too, so I had to learn how to care for him. It was completely different than my other healthy children, so I understand. And you took very good care of him, and he was well taken care of, and you're fighting like hard. I don't think I've ever.
I was too long. I'm fighting hard, and I'm fighting too long to the point. It's just time for the thunder and tsunamis to roll. I have been, like I said, this is exhausting. I have been informed. I have been informed by the credit bureaus, because they do have a secret credit bureau that does affect your credit. Because I had someone, I wasn't able to find it out, and what they do is they lock your credit report where you don't have access to it. So they'll tell you that you got to send your ID and your update income, and then most of the time you doing that, and the traffickers take that information that's in the credit bureau, and they use that information to still lock you up out of your account. Come to find out, somebody had a house in my name, but what they did, they erased it off the account, and then they allowed me access to my account, even though it was locked up for several years. And it's getting exhausting to keep fighting when somebody does credit fraud. Because how the world, if I'm standing, if I'm standing other housing, how the world do somebody got $100,000 house in my name? They had something in over there in the UK, credit cards that was like over $10,000 in my name. But it was one of those things, and then somebody supposedly have or had a car. So if anybody, there's a license plate that come up with my name, it's not me. It's not me. If anything come up and they use my name and they kidnap your child, it's not me. So if you talk to somebody and they say they know me and my name is used, I'm not kidnapping nobody's child. I'm fighting to get my own child.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's bad enough that they took your child and now they're doing this to you to make it, to where you're just, to leave you with nothing, I mean.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Nobody is begging them to get there and wake up in the morning. Nobody begging them to go to bed at night. Like, this something where life has to be a choice for a lot of people, that if they're not gonna get there and they got the tampering of our children, the tampering of innocent folks on their mind, just bother them just for the entertainment. They just need to go head on and just call it in and just do it by themselves, because it makes no sense to get there. And like I said, all I did is for the betterment of the world, cleanliness. That's what I've been about, the education, economics, and enterprise. You know what I'm saying? I have helped so many people, prevented them from having this happen to their children, and I know I should be definitely having more shares. I should definitely be having more support. I should definitely, I should certainly be having definitely everyone attending to this matter. Much, you know what I'm saying? I go to sleep because I'm like, okay, I go to sleep because I want answers. I go to sleep because I know I have to stay strong for him, because if anything happened to me, nobody's going to fight for him hard like me and those that's fighting with me. And I have to be available to keep everybody else updated that's fighting with my child. It's not 100,000, but I appreciate everyone that's getting there, supporting, advocating, and doing all that they can, along with protecting and doing everything they can of themselves with these traffickers, and also doing what they can to prevent themselves any harm along with their own loved ones.
Well, we need more help. We need more people to get involved, because we're all fighting our own battle, and it's exhausting. We want to help, You're an inspiration to me. I mean, I really look up to you, and I'm fighting there right along with you for our children and for all the children, really. But you know, it's really scary to think that they could just come and take your child, and anybody's child, anybody.
Well, not just that. The housing, with the housing services, the economic housing services. Now, when you have a disabled child, it really working full time, even if you have a spouse, really is not virtual, because these programs, they have all these inexperienced. They don't have people more choices like back in the day. I don't know. Most of them must have passed away, or they must just been barred from working effectively directly with our children, because these programs, a majority of them garbage. Anyone, it's like you got a single digit number of programs available for the population of children that are disabled that can really serve them. They don't provide the service. Then they have the trafficking with the housing. They intentionally get there. And the real estate, if y'all know about the lieutenant governor there, and coincidentally, this needs to be, maybe somebody may have further detail, but I'm just presenting what surface facts. I don't know anything else behind it.
What services are you talking about? Do you mean
I'm
like
talking about ADA services.
Okay, ADA. Okay, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
That's a service where you have to be available. They get there. They'll have you training. They'll have you training doing their job while they get paid for it in these services. Come and pick up your child. So it's like, well, how you going to work? And I signed up for you all to provide service to my child, and that is you asking me what to do, or I'm coming here and have to take the whole day to provide service. Then you want to ask me where do I work at, or tell me where I need to go get a job at. But then if I don't come pick up my child, or available to, well, not just me, just anybody, they not available to pick up their child. Then they get there and put a report in the CPS talking about that's child neglect.
Well, and they have to make accommodations. And
that's not happening.
Have they helped you with any accommodations to help you?
Well, that's kind of how we got in this situation. Alone, we got in this situation with the housing. There's trafficking going on in these housing agencies, HUD, all these different programs that they have, Section 8, public housing. And so public housing, they find you a unit. But so for those that's on a housing choice voucher program, and there are other similar programs or remix names, such as that, what they're doing is they have you apply for the housing, and they get there, and you can already have the voucher. I already have a case there. Where I was, kind of misled that through a nonprofit. All these nonprofits that have misled me about services and housing, they're going to all be reported to. They're doing a lot of fraud, and they even get their reporting how they're helping people, and all they're doing is collecting birth certificate, social security card, or collecting data, and then they'll fool around there, and they'll call the companies and some kind of way tickle them not to provide services to you, such as with the housing. I have a situation where I went to apply for housing. Wow, the unit they showed the display unit, and all the apartments was doing it. They show you a display unit.
They had somebody, I don't know if it was here or it was close to where I'm at, and the worker was taking the individual's benefits and using it for their personal use instead of giving
that's what they're doing across the country. Just 1 minute. I gotta go tend to something. 1 minute.
Okay. All right. I'll be here.
So I have a case where the last 5 days of my voucher, they refused to renew it, and I asked for renewal weeks in advance, and they got there, and they waited like 5 days before to even renew my voucher and give it to me, and I only had 5
for your housing. For your housing, the voucher for your housing.
Yeah, for the housing. Okay. So what happened, they showed it was a regular apartment complex, but I only had 5 days left, and I had already paid, I couldn't go nowhere due to transportation, and then I had to immediately return back to my child due to the ranges, and something else had occurred. So it was like I had to, I couldn't change up the arrangements to to that area to go to another apartment complex when I saw that apartment complex. So they refuse to show me. They talk to you and mislead you and waste your time and have you go through all this procedure. So they show you one display unit. It look bearable. Oh, you're trying to be grateful. So the unit.
They give you misinformation. They don't give you they don't give you the truth. Is that right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So when I had to move up out that unit, leave up out that unit because we was having to leave out the window. The ceiling ended up collapsing in the kitchen room. They had fire coming out the side. I reported to the house. Stephen Graham there on the West Coast, and they held my voucher up intentionally. They refused to get there and let me leave it. And I tried to talk to other people that was on the Section 8 program. They didn't want to talk because they didn't want to make things worse, and they just wanted to be grateful that they had a place to stay. Like I said, just really horrible. What is definitely right about how they get there and use the benefits for themselves.
Right, and that's horrible because they want to help, but they're afraid to because their family could get, it could happen to their family, or they could be targeted. They could be the next target, by speaking out with you, and that shouldn't be like that. That's, it's we have rights, and they've taken it from us, and to not be able to speak out against crimes against humanity is.
Crimes against decency.
Yeah, well, that too. Morality. I mean, it's all of it.
It's essential. This is a crime against essential to get there and pay anything with housing. We're going to have to go back to the days and the times where, if people, it was a time when you might have half your family working, half the family at home, but even though they was at home, they was able to get there and have meals cooked for, take care of the elders in the home. They was able to get there and the children get off. Nowadays, children are missing, but they're having to get there and be extra alert or, or chancing, taking care of themselves, getting to an if they have a single parent or even if most the way they have things. It was a time where you could work at McDonald's and had at least enough money to at least pay rent and your light bill. Now they got it don't matter about working at McDonald's. You gonna need
that's right. They keep us poor so they can control us, right? They make us think that we can't make it without them. They keep us that way, So they sure do. Meanwhile, they're collecting millions of dollars in federal funding, and that's why they changed our children's names, and they have all kinds of different fraud going on, and oh my God, it's terrific.
And the reason why they're taking the vaccines, the whole purpose of that business.
Yep. And I read an article saying that they're legally kidnapping children to cover vaccine injury or jab injuries. I say jab, so we don't get in trouble. But they're.
I don't know if everybody noticed here, but it sure hasn't been mentioned on the nationwide news hardly, and it sure is further needs to be investigated to how we having these crises. They have a lot. For everybody saying that they're a real estate agent. However, when you have these housing programs, it's hard to find how they get there and failing to secure everybody that need housing, and then all the people that with vouchers, they quick to tell people they go in the shelter. Then when they go in the shelter, they get there and want to force people into mental health. So it's bravery. Oh well, if you sign up for mental health, you'll get housing quicker, and it also needs to be investigated.
You actually made me think of something.
They target people through the housing programs.
My court-appointed attorney that I got was a real estate attorney. So what you're saying is lining up. Why would they need a real estate attorney? And the
lieutenant governor of New York, that's what he got arrested for. And guess what? When he got arrested, y'all know they didn't announce it on the news. And guess what happened at the same time? That's when they had the incident, which didn't make sense. This man about 70 years old, and they're saying that he did this incident, but the thing is, if he only did this in one car, and it's about 10 cars on the train, approximately, give or take. So you tell me that the people in the other car ain't see him go up 6 flights of stairs?
Right.
Right. And you know,
It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. And it just, we need more boots on the ground. We need people speaking up. Don't be afraid. I mean, it could be your children next. It's been my children. It's been Jaguar's mom. You know, I don't know your first name. I know you by Jaguar's mom. You know, and it's just, they're coming quickly. And you know, another thing I like to add to that people might not realize is that we're targeted very, very early. I mean, they have things like figured out, you know.
Yeah, they target people that are in the government housing programs. That's what they do.
Did y'all hear about the New York school system got hacked with children birth certificate and social security cards, but they only mentioned it one time through the feed. The New York school system got hacked with children birth certificate and social security cards, and which that's a big population. Well, it don't matter if it's a small population; it's still wrong.
All right, folks, that was a good chunk of the interview, at least some of the updates. Oh, no worries, Desiree. Anyways, yeah, that was update. That was the latest updates with with Jaguar's mom, also known as Shaunes Butler, I believe. So, anyways, with that being said,
I wanted to make a comment about that if I could.
Go right ahead, Jen. Go right ahead.
You know, I don't know if anybody else knows, but I definitely did now that I'm not talking to her. You could just sense the desperation for help in her voice, and she is out there with her boots on the ground. She can't do this by herself. We need help. We need people to stand up with us because it's a battle that it cannot be won alone. It takes all of us because it's not because there's more of them, there's more of us. But it's just so just set up for us to fail. There's no way out, and she has a lot to say. She's she knows a lot, and she is absolutely on point. They teach us the stuff while we do their job, and they get paid for it. I have not ever heard that, and she is on point. I had services for my son. He was disabled. He passed away, but she's absolutely right. I had to learn his medical care. I had to learn how to take care of his trach. I had to learn how to do CPR. I had to do that, but that was different. I mean, they took him from me. They had all kinds of new funding, and they actually, I can say this if I could, they actually wanted me to sign a DNR, do not resuscitate. I said, nope, absolutely not. Nope, I do not. And that was one thing that I had, and I kept it. And I kept him a full code because there was no reason for it. He was completely healthy for 4 years, no sickness. And all of a sudden, his health failed. So nobody can take care of our children better than protective, loving parents.
Yeah,
Nobody.
I mean, this supposed like these
that's all I have to say.
These supposed local, family service institutions are supposed to be, they're acting under the guise of helping and looking out for the welfare of the kids, but in reality, what we're seeing them do is racketeer and traffic these kids, folks. So
that would be like, that would be like trusting a hand, or okay, how about that? Trusting the hand that don't ever trust the
biting the hand that feeds you.
No, it's about don't ever trust eating out of a hand that I starve. I don't know. Never mind. It's kind of like that. But it's like I would rather I'd rather eat something instead of never mind.
It's the fox watching the hens.
Exactly. Yeah, the fox watching the hen house. Yes.
You guys are old. No, this is a hip hop up to date.
We're old. We're old. What do you mean we're old? Of course we're old. You know what? I'm going to be pushing 40 here next. I'm turning 39.
Well,
folks.
You're like my younger brother.
Another year I'll be 40.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway, God, it would be. Okay. Anyway.
I mean, my facial hairs are already going gray. I'm going bald.
Talk about age, okay? Let's just leave that one alone. Walk
age
away.
is waiting on me. Hey, at least we can laugh about it.
Go
ahead.
Here's the thing: when you're going through this system and you're traumatized by it, whenever you find people that will listen, that can relate, you just can't stop talking. I do the same thing. So,
No, it's because
you're
people
like,
have so much to say, and then when they relate to somebody and they have so much they want to tell because they haven't been able to talk
who
about
else
it,
can they tell?
or
Who
who,
knows
yeah,
how
right,
the
exactly. Who
system?
can they tell? Nobody. So it's like you
Who would
got
you
all
call?
that, trying to get all that out in
Would
one
you call?
in
Would you
just a
call the
little bit of
people to
time. And
save you
yeah, no, I
that poisoned you? No.
totally understandable.
Hey, on that
Yes,
point, you
that's right.
guys, one of the ideas a couple of our groups had was to have a hotline for these parents to call
Yeah,
when they're.
I
Yes.
have a Google number we have set up for what we did one on Mother's Day,
Oh,
but nobody called
good.
in. But we have one
Yes.
in the background if we want, we can use
I
one.
think
Oh,
I think
good.
that if anybody out there wants to volunteer some time or whatever, that would be great. And do it because we could be there for each other. I would not call any line that's connected with the system itself.
Absolutely
We
agree.
actually did that in one of my groups and it worked out great. And we were on different time zones. People were available 24 hours a day. So
That's wonderful.
and it worked so great. And what better way of healing than to help others?
That's cool. I did a live on Facebook. I think it was last Mother's Day. I was on there for anybody who needed me.
I mean, because this isn't like Law and Order victims unit. This is real life. They're ripping our lives apart.
Right.
They're permanently psychologically and emotionally damaging these kids by what they're putting them through, and they're putting them through it because they're getting greedy because they're making money. They're racketeering, folks.
That's what they see. They see dollar signs. We see love, future. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for all this stuff. It's taken and run and fun.
Jen, back up your mic. You're popping. It's popping. We can't hear you.
Okay, getting a little emo here. It's my kid. They're messing.
No,
with
I
my
know.
children.
It was popping, and it was overloading the
Oh,
mic, and we couldn't hear half
my
of what you were
bad.
saying.
Because I was probably getting mad. I was like, okay. So
Yeah,
anywho, I mean,
You're
my
good
point
now.
is this, is that definitely, I can say this for sure. Nobody knows the evil until they look into the eyes of these soulless demons in human form. Nobody can explain it. Once you look into it, you will never be the same again. And they're coming for all the children really quick. So this is not a joke. This is actually a freaking emergency. I mean, this is like a call to action like 2 years ago.
You are correct in the fact that it is an emergency. Absolutely. They stopped the whole economy to help with this fight. Okay. And they stopped, whose numbers got the most depleted when COVID hit because there was no teachers able to call in.
And another thing,
CPS.
Somebody pointed out to me, those numbers on there, that's not COVID, that's child trafficking. And it makes sense. And it was like, you know what? They're probably accurate.
No, but the numbers, nobody was calling in. Nobody was calling in during the COVID time because the number one reporters are the teachers.
Right. No, totally. Yep. That ties right into what my buddy's been telling me. Like it's the schools are the third part of the triad, the racketeering triad that we're missing. That's the missing link. So it's the Department of Health and Human Services, the school boards, and the family and CPS court, organizations. Those are the three that are racketeering. They got a little criminal triad going on, and out here it's DHHS. Out here it's DHHS, which is Department of Health and Human Services, CCSD, Clark County School District, and CPS out here.
You're absolutely right, Desiree. Because you know what? I remember watching the news. Okay, when I'm very really
you caught it, didn't you?
Just to see what's up. And you know what they said?
Yes, I do.
The head lady from DCS said, our numbers of calls for child abuse has dropped.
That's right.
Please, it's dropped because we know who's doing the calling. Okay. So maybe, a little tit for tat, plus they get a little bit of bonus for that one too. I'm sure they get paid.
You know what? I want to share a video that I was present for about a week, maybe a week and a half ago. I went to a local school board meeting for the school board trustee meeting where they were getting, they were getting all their grant money voted on. And my buddy just went in here and just tore them up. And I loved it. I think it's such a beautiful thing. I think we should share it. So give me 1 second. I'm going to bring that up for our viewers and you can see for yourself. And the site I'm about to show you is our News for Us's sister site, which is called politically incorrectness.com. Okay. Now this video is from a school board meeting on June 9th. And then this one was July 14th. So this one, I'm gonna play this one first. And then
evening. For the record, my name is Carlana Colsath. Loyalty. That's a noun. It's defined as a strong feeling of support of allegiance. Dr. Jara, you showed a strong sign of loyalty to your 16-member cabinet in October 21, where you gave them way more than soft bonus of $5,000. I agree with my colleague who spoke first tonight.
That was June 9th, trustee school board meeting. This one is July 14th, and I was here present to get this on record. So in case they decided to cut the mic or the cam on my buddy, which they had been doing, we had copies.
File. You can't call me that. So the factor is, how does this man sue you guys for $2 million and use letters that he paid for to use as evidence to sue and still be sitting here? That is ludicrous. I understand certain people changed votes for, weird reasons, but the factor is if your child is being ignored for a full year, been beat up, obviously is neglect, obviously is endangerment, and I've addressed you guys on multiple levels. So question, with the hostile school environment, what would you charge it? Because that would fall on this whole board and everybody that's labeled under that blue sign. That's racketeering, would it not be? Because neglect and endangerment is a crime. Financial situations, there's the crime. Racketeering hits everybody here. Everybody, this whole board. Everybody that sits under you. Everybody. The fact that my kid's been ignored for 5 years straight is ludicrous. So again, if a man can create a hostile school environment by closing behavioral schools and letting our teachers be attacked and letting our students be attacked without no safety plans, then this man is the very person that created the hostile work environment. How do you sue somebody for something you create? That's ludicrous. Only this man can do it.
Thank you. Walter Jones III.
One more I want to play for you guys. There's a couple more after this, but I'm going to play the most relevant ones. That one was one of the most relevant ones, and this one is like a little bit longer, but worth it.
The consent agenda, please speak on the items.
For those who may be watching, this is a video of a Clark County School District trustee board meeting where this one was where they were voting on the grant money that they would be receiving for the following year.
10 minutes to address all the
Okay, so
yep,
basically,
I have 1, 2, 3,
8.
4, 5. Yeah, so you get 10 minutes.
Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, this is
And just again, reminder, and the
Stay on topic.
for everyone, and we're not counting this as time. To please stay on topic. Okay.
I got you.
Thank you.
Good thing is I actually rehearsed this for you. So basically, in a nutshell, this is where you guys are asking for the grants for English-speaking kids, for immigration, for warrants, which is my favorite because I really have a whole bunch of people I need warrants for, and situations of that nature. So we'll go on the reading part first. My kid, he's in 11th grade, but in second grade reading level, he has a WIDA, Hawaiian Japanese. He didn't start speaking English till 3rd grade. In his writing, you still see him where he writes Hawaiian and English and he mixes it together. But yet, this year we didn't even get a WIDA. Everybody knows what will happen at basic. The psychologically eval, that's out of compliance. It's not even law. They haven't even done a meeting. But yet, all that stuff in the situation of, again, if you guys are asking for this money, where did my son's part of his money go? Because if he has a second grade reading level and he's in 11th grade, obviously I think he missed his services. But somebody got paid for him though. So what do you do with that? When you've been addressing this whole school board about situations about your child, about his academics, the fact that the past 5 years has been academic neglect, the fact that they lied on the grades the past 3 years about his reading, and again, my kid is an immigrant from Hawaii, but again, nobody's even addressed that in the school. They've never even addressed his dyslexia, and that's part of the whole grant that you guys are asking for. If he's been having that since the 4th grade and it hasn't been given, why are you guys still asking money for it? Shouldn't they be reserved somewhere? Because if nobody's getting the services, there should be a reserve somewhere of where it hasn't been spent. Because if you're not getting it, then obviously you're not paying for it. So where's the reserve? But the factor is, and the situation is, in past 5 years, my kid has major problems in school. The factor is the kid is going to be in the 12th grade, not this year, but next year. And the kid can't even.
I'm going to find I have a copy on my hard drive that I can amplify. So I'm going to replay this part with that, but I'll continue it for now until I find it.
Spell the word resume, much less fill out one for his future. He can't even spell the word future. But yet you guys are passing him like he's nobody. He's in the 11th grade, but yet wasn't in school last year. He's got passed AB honor roll somehow. I haven't even got his report card this year.
All right, folks, here we go.
And just a reminder before we start.
Hopefully that's better for everybody.
The consent agenda, please speak on the items as that's kind of what they're agendized as. Mr. Bayless.
Which number is this?
All of them.
File. You can't call me that. So the factor is,
I'm going to replay both of them for our viewers so they can hear it, all of it.
how does this man sue you guys for $2 million and use letters that he paid for to use as evidence to sue and still be sitting here? That is ludicrous. I understand certain people changed votes for, weird reasons, but the factor is if your child is being ignored for a full year, been beat up, obviously is neglect, obviously is endangerment, and I've addressed you guys on multiple levels. So question, with the hostile school environment, what would Jaguar do? Because that would fall on this whole board and everybody that's labeled under that blue sign. That's racketeering, would it not be? Because neglect and endangerment is a crime. Financial situations, there's the crime. Racketeering hits everybody here. Everybody. This whole board. Everybody that sits under you. Everybody. The fact that my kid's been ignored for 5 years straight is ludicrous. So again, if a man can create a hostile school environment by closing behavioral schools and letting our teachers be attacked and letting our students be attacked without no safety plans, then this man is the very person that created the hostile work environment. How do you sue somebody for something you create? That's ludicrous. Only this man can do it.
Thank you. Walter Jones, third. Right. And just a reminder before we start the consent agenda, please speak on the items as that's kind of what they're agendized as. Mr. Bayless.
Which number is this?
All of them.
Huh?
This is the whole consent agenda item, so you have 10 minutes to address all the ones.
Okay, so
yeah, I
basically
have 1, 2, 3,
8,
4, 5. Yeah, so you get 10 minutes.
Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, this is
and just again, reminder, and this is about before everyone, and we're not counting this as time. To please stay on topic. Okay.
I got you.
Thank you.
Good thing is I actually rehearsed this for you. So basically, in a nutshell, this is where you guys are asking for the grants for English-speaking kids, for immigration, for warrants, which is my favorite because I really have a whole bunch of people I need warrants for. And situations of that nature. So we'll go on the reading part first. My kid, he's in 11th grade, but in 2nd grade reading level, he has a WIDA, Hawaiian Japanese. He didn't start speaking English till 3rd grade. in his writing, you still see him where he writes Hawaiian and English and he mixes it together. But yet, this year we didn't even get a WIDA. Everybody knows what happened at Basic. Psychologically about, that's out of compliance. It's not even locked. They haven't even done a meeting. But yet, all that stuff in the situation of, again, if you guys are asking for this money, where did my son's part of his money go? Because if he has a second grade reading level and he's in 11th grade, obviously I think he missed his services. But somebody got paid for him though. So what do you do with that? When you've been addressing this whole school board about situations about your child, about his academics, the fact that the past 5 years has been academic neglect, the fact that they lied on the grades the past 3 years about his reading, and again, my kid is an immigrant from Hawaii, but again, nobody's even addressed that in the school. They've never even addressed his dyslexia. And that's part of the whole grant that you guys are asking for. If he's been having that since the 4th grade and it hasn't been given, why are you guys still asking money for it? Shouldn't they be reserved somewhere? Because if nobody's getting the services, there should be a reserve somewhere where it hasn't been spent. Because if you're not getting it, then obviously you're not paying for it. So where's the reserve? But the factor is, and the situation is, in the past 5 years, my kid has major problems in school. The factor is the kid is going to be in the 12th grade, not this year, but next year, and the kid can't even spell the word resume, much less fill out one for his future. He can't even spell the word future. But yet you guys are passing him like he's nobody. He's in the 11th grade, but yet wasn't in school last year. He's got passed AB honor roll somehow. I haven't even got his report card this year. But yet you guys are talking about money for immigration and English-speaking kids. My kid is one of them. You guys are here asking for the money. I've been asking you guys to help with the services. So if y'all are steady asking for the money, how about answering me too? Because that's what the money pays for. Not just to go in your pocket and buy a new exercise machine. So what do you do with all this? When you address the board day in, day out, I've been coming here, since October? And meanwhile, you guys are moved my kid to a whole new year. He's about to be in the 11th grade when he should technically still be in 9th. Because again, if you look at his WIDA, the kid has a second grade reading level. All his academics are below par. But yet you guys are steady passing him along. Steady passing him along. Last year, he got no credits, but made the 11th grade somehow. The year before that, he was 3.5 credits short, but somehow passed. If you pass these kids, they have nothing to achieve for. If you push them along, where do they show a sense of responsibility? If you push them...
Let's redirect you back to,
I got you.
You have warrants, you have...
Okay, so on the warrant factors, I was requesting if you guys could actually get a warrant for Mr. Bustamante, basic high school principal.
So the warrants is the folks, like the actual warrants, not, you cannot speak on warrants, is the warrants that are on the consent agenda.
Oh, damn. Okay, we're done.
Well, you also still have 5
I covered that one already, way in the beginning.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Still need a warrant.
Anyways, I thought our viewers would appreciate that, and that was a good, a big win. I think. Desiree, I think you're muted. We can't hear you. Check your mic input volume setting. Still can't hear you.
And you have the right idea. Bring the media with you.
That's how you boycott a federally funded institution, especially state-run one that's federally funded. You go in and you fuck up the grant money, then they got no more funding, then they got no more business. Because what they're doing is they're passing kids, and they're trying to do this to my nephew too, and my neighbor across the way who I do legal paperwork for, and they're passing kids because they're trying to meet their quota so they can get the grant money, but they shouldn't be passing some of these kids because they need the extra help and they're not giving it to them. They're pretending like they're already getting the services and passing them, but they're really not. And what he was talking about, they did the same thing to his kid. His kid didn't get any credits last year because he pulled his kid out of school because of the lawsuit he's got going on because of what they were responsible for covering up with when it came to his son. And but they still passed him anyway onto the 11th grade. Does that make any sense to you guys? They're freaking racketeering. So basically he went down there and cost them their $5 million grant because he called them out on their racketeering, and the people there to grant the money walked out.
It's clearly about the money. That's all it's about. It's about money. They'll push kids
I wanted to share that with all of our viewers because that's a huge
Yeah.
win, and that's how he got CPS to back off of him. He basically filed an ethics report with the local, with the state ethics board, and then also and listed the charges, which was they were defamation, slander, neglect, and what was the other one? Abuse, I believe. Because they endangered his child by not handling the situation. He got jumped. Basically, what happened? So he filed that report and one with this. Hold on, let me finish. And with the Civil Rights Commission federally, right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
And he sent those reports to the head CPS, the boss, the big boss, the one in charge of the whole organization locally in your state, which in ours would be Nevada. That's how he got them to back off. In his case. Anyways, I just wanted to get that out because I thought it might be useful for some of our other viewers. Go ahead.
Can you repeat that one more
I was
time?
just saying, I like how he. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what my
individually,
buddy just said,
know?
that school board meeting on the 14th of July was the Clark County School District trustee board meeting, and it was the one where they vote on whether or not they find out whether or not they get their grant money, right? Well, at least one of the meetings that they do that at. And they were up on the agenda on that day was the special education $5 million grant that they were trying to vote on and get. Well, my buddy went in there and he's been strategically, you have the thing called failure points when you're in the middle of an op and you have to strategically be tactical, so to speak. My buddy's ex-mil, so that will explain the way he went about it. But anyways, long story short, he was playing his cards so close to the vest. I didn't even know what his play was until after the fact when we had him on a Zoom last Monday. So that being said, that's what he had, basically told me after we had that meeting, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude! That actually might work." So I wanted to share that with our viewers because I think that might be a possible winning angle to approach it at in your own local communities. We can't make any guarantees, of course, because it's different in every state, but it's worth a shot, and I think it would be a good way to exert political or pressure on the higher up, the highest up, using the evidence, what you have gathered in your ethics report and your filing to the Civil Rights Commission, and then you send that to their boss. And then what do you think's going to happen? I mean, they either, okay, we're gonna leak it or let everybody know, or you handle it. Problem solved. But that's how he handled it. And then so what he did in the meeting though was that's how when you have an institution that's being federally funded by federal grants. How do you boycott a system like that? Well, what you just saw is exactly how you boycott a system like that. You rob them of their grant money. Enough said. But that's I think going to be the winning strategy here, folks. If we're going to be doing it for institutions that are local, being funded by the government. Basically, that's going to be your strategy. I think that's going to be the best, like almost immediate approach to exert pressure on who you need to put pressure on, if that makes any sense.
And I think that parents need to be more interactive with their children's education. Don't treat it like a babysitter. Treat it seriously. What are they teaching our children, and what are they spending the money that they're getting from the federal government for our children?
Krista Harris says he can't even spell the word future, and he's going in 11th grade with a second grade reading level. Wow, CCSD is really failing this kid. That dad is awesome, and that's in reference to my buddy. Thank you, Krista. And then she also says they don't care what's best for the kids. The schools just want to make their federal funding from the government. You got that right, because they're racketeering. They're not looking out for the kids. They're freaking racketeering. Hey, Jara. Sorry you won't be getting that exercise equipment this year.
No trips to Hawaii. Sorry.
Anyways, I thought that was really a good angle. I thought it could be very valuable for most of our viewers or anybody else going through this, because it's a feasible strategy that we know can work.
We are not powerless. We are powerful.
What did you think of that, Desiree? Wasn't that power? Wasn't that an empowering to see that?
Yes, that was actually, he should get a Father of the Year award for what he
Damn
did,
right he should.
because that was
Damn
heroic,
right he should.
calling them out like that. And you know what, to all the people that say, well, why wasn't he teaching them? Well, because he works hard and he pays his taxes, or he did work hard and served our country, and he did pay his dues. And it is their job to teach his son if he's
Right.
going to public school, not the
Exactly.
job. So if he's not up to par or being called out for a disability, yeah, hello, it is they're supposed to be the experts, okay?
They're supposed to be.
Not.
I know when I was in school, I had an IEP myself. I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, I always figured that's how they put those of us that are unique in the box, so to speak, in that little box of theirs to keep us from expanding others' minds and shit. I mean, I was always bored in school. I think that was my problem. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't understand the material. I was just freaking bored. I already knew it. But that's what they were doing though. Like that to my buddy's son though, is they didn't give him the services that they were required by law to do so with that grant money.
Right, and I tested myself for gifted children and put in a split classroom because I was so ahead of the rest, and so they expected me to be more mature. But I didn't get along with that teacher, and my attitude got the best of me, and I started rebelling after that. So, I mean, they do not cater to anybody with special.
No, they don't. They don't give a shit about the kids.
No, they could have. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I got 99 percentile.
Mm-hmm.
In my English and writing, and I haven't gone to school besides I hadn't gone to school since like third, fourth grade when I took that test. So I mean,
right. And I want people to remember the number one place that CPS gets their reports for kids is the school board, the school system outside of the home.
That's right.
The number one place outside of the
Really?
home where CPS gets their reports is from the schools. It's from the schools, you guys.
They're not about our children's education, like they say.
Nope, they are not. They are about profiting off of
Okay,
each head that they can count and
Shoot, if
say that
Okay.
they are filling that quota of.
okay, if they're okay with transgender stuff being taught to kids that don't even know it, all that
Like,
is.
what in the hell is wrong? What's happened to our society? Like, you don't touch, like, that's crossing a line. Like, that kid is not capable of understanding those concepts or making the decisions
About that.
with understanding the gravity of those decisions. What they're doing. No, that's wrong. That's the same as like somebody exposing themselves to a kid. That's pedophilia.
It is. And it's like if you're having to have teachers, even though that's an extreme, I understand that. But if that is the far extreme, then of course these teachers aren't mature enough to understand that, to call CPS just because you don't like a teacher or you don't like the clothes that they're wearing or the car that they're
Right.
or you think that they're not getting enough lunch.
I just, it's people make assumptions and think that they know better when they don't have the whole picture. And like, it's like you have people like neighbors and calling CPS on people. You have family members doing it on people. You have teachers, school staff doing it on people. And a lot of the time they're not doing it for they may think they're doing it for the right reasons, but what they're ultimately doing is it's causing much more damage in the long run for the kids.
I think it
Would be
is.
otherwise. And in these circumstances where it's a corrupt court case situation, there are of course legitimate situations, I think, of course, for that service, but to some extent. But honestly, with the level of corruption that I've seen, I'm going to speak from the heart within my own experience, my own opinion. Just from the last 5 months or 6-7 months covering this issue, CPS family court corruption issue. I've seen so much corruption. I'm not entirely sure it's even serving the people anymore, to be honest. I'm not sure. I've seen corruption on all these different cases across the board. I don't see it doing any service to the people or the kids anymore. It's causing trauma and damaging the fabric of our society, I think, at this point. And that's my own personal opinion. But some people say, reform, but like at this point, like when it's that bad, and you have all the St. Louis 21st Circuit, Missouri Supreme Court judges, I think it's the Supreme Court in Angie's case, all recusing themselves, all of them. That's never happened historically in any state. And that's a first for Missouri. Like that never. That's unheard of. But the only time that many judges recuse themselves is when they're all involved.
Right.
I don't think there's any reform about it. It just needs to be destroyed and built anew.
It does not serve the people
absolutely
anymore.
anew.
It really doesn't.
And
Because they're racketeering, but instead of your
Yes.
regular black market racketeering, they're racketeering with the federal grant money.
You can't
I mean,
reform a Nazi seed, okay? It's a communist seed. You can't reform it. They'll just reshuffle
no.
all the matter with using the same tactics as they have all the times that they've been threatened. They just reshuffle and continue to do what they do. No reform for Nazi.
Yeah, so I want to do my little Klaus Schwab impression to give a big FU to him. So you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, fuck you, Klaus Schwab. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Go ahead, though.
That's funny. That was good. That was really good.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend that CPS start with an exit strategy and including a team to reunite all the lost children and their parents that miss them. That would be a good start. Because they have
Absolutely it would.
They have a lot of work still. They don't have to worry about not having jobs tomorrow. They'll be fine. But I would recommend the next strategy.
What kind of jobs would they have? Like shoveling cow shit or something, maybe?
Well, they need to find those kids that they've lost.
Well, I mean, once they find them, can we make them work at McDonald's?
I don't think we can trust these bastards to do the right thing and bring them back. They'll probably just sell them and traffic them some more to try and make more money.
No, they need to
they need to return these kids. These kids need to be freaking returned or found or something, so these parents can get closure, because what's going on here is bullshit. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
There's at this point, it's so evil and corrupt, they can't make it right. They need to.
It's too far gone.
This earth somehow. I mean, like, they need to be shipped off somewhere. They should.
I want accountability under the law. I want to see these bastards spend the rest of their lives in prison, or worse. But that's entirely up to the rule of law. And that's all I am asking for and calling for when it comes to accountability. I mean, some people think there should be more, but like, let's be realistic. If we're going to do this the right way, we're not going to cause any societal damage. It's got to be under the law and by the law. And we can't stoop to their level when we do it either, folks. We have to walk the high path and make it happen the right way. Well, we can do it. But just what we saw demonstrates that the power of one.
They can never repay what they took from us. They can never repay.
You're absolutely right about that.
There's no amount of money that can ever repay what they stole from us, what they stole from our children, and the innocence that they stole from them. Never at all. So no matter if we get $1 million, so that won't replace the pain and the emptiness that some of us will never see our kids again. Not because of what we did that was wrong, because of what they did for greed. Our kids were doing just fine. But until somebody with their money, whatever, however they set it up, whatever they did, that's irrelevant. To this point right now, just in this moment. The emotional level and the instinct between a mother and a child, or a father and a child, can never be replaced by anything. I mean, it's not just what they stole from me, it's what they stole from my children in order to create future child traffickers,
Yes, because this issue is multi-generational. We've seen second and third generation victims of this corruption, you guys. So we know it occurs, that it's multi-generational. But go ahead, Jen. I just wanted to touch on that for our viewers.
Because my son is, doing. I'm not going to say because that's what they're doing, because they do that under the guise of the kinship program. Not that I don't think that kids should not be placed with families. I don't think they should be ripped away from their families to be placed with other family members, because it'll tear the relationship apart. Because once they start seeing money, boy, oh boy, that motivates a lot of folks. So, but the fact that they are grooming children, they're giving them 2-year college degrees if they stay in foster care, glamorizing it. And that's what they did to my family, my son.
Oh, wow.
My daughters. So with that being said, generations are going to think it's okay. You try to break a cycle of evil and you're attacked. But I'm not stopping. So
Right. Nor am I.
but-
They can try all they. I mean, how often do we get interfered with technology wise, folks, like Zoom meetings, phones, stuff like that? Jen, would you tell our viewers for so they can get an idea? I mean, I know we talk about it all the time, so I'm pretty sure they have a good idea, but just tell them for us. I mean, it's almost nonstop, is it not?
What was that again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The level of interference we get from whatever source is trying to stop us. We get interference almost constantly, folks. Like either it'll be me or her or somebody else on the team or all of
My
us.
volume?
Yeah, it's always something, but we're always getting some sort of interference or attempts to prevent us from doing what we do.
Right.
Yeah. So
put it this way. My post went against community standards, and it was about how foster children and how they are.
Share your screen for our viewers so they can see.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I would love to. Hold on, okay, give me a second. Let me pull it up. And in fact, it was in a I got it both on Facebook and in a group, Rise Above the Ashes.
Okay. You can share your screen whenever you're ready, Jen.
Yeah, I'm just going to get to the group so you don't see all my stuff. So,
Got you. I hear
everybody.
you. I got you.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. I'll actually go to the group and then I'll pull up my I think maybe I'll do it that way. Hold on. This isn't the only one that I got it on. I got it on therapy, how to de-stress after family court as well. So this isn't the only one, which is interesting. Okay. I'll go ahead and show you, and then I'll go.
Go ahead and share, Jen, because our viewers are getting antsy.
I'm hurrying, everybody. I'm really hurrying. It's just okay, here we go. Here's my screen.
All right, cool.
Okay.
We can see it.
So here we go. Let's see. What did I do with it? Okay, here it is right here. This post goes against it. This is Rise Against the Ashes. It's about a special series of the youth voice former foster children write poetry of their experience. And how does this go against any community standards? It's about how they survived as a foster kid, their personal experience. How is this? It's we have okay. So it says this goes against our community standards on spam. Only the author of the post, which is me, and the people who manage Rise Against the Ashes can see the post, which I am an admin for. So what is okay? We have these standards to prevent things.
Click on see more.
Oh, I can't because it's a screenshot.
Well, that's what you would normally do to see more about why, because usually they have info there, but a lot of the time they don't tell people. They just shut them down.
Right. But I'm waiting. I was waiting because I wanted to show you. So so then it says we have these standards to prevent things like false advertising, fraud, and security breaches. If your content goes against community standard, again, my account may be restricted or disabled. You can disagree with the decision if you think we got it wrong. Absolutely. I'm the author and I manage the group. And this is not hate at all. So I'll show you the actual, if it'll let me see, I'll go to the group and see if it'll come up.
Sounds good, Jen. Sounds good.
Okay, because
unmute yourself. You accidentally muted
You
yourself.
can disagree with the decision if you think we got it wrong. Their life as a foster care child, you know. How is this false? Whatever. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
No, I know it's a
so.
bullshit reason, and we all know it. We all know it.
Okay, so
Even though
group
our shit's covered under fair use, they
activity.
always copyright infringe me for
There it
music or
is right
something
here.
or something or other. Always. And then they
Okay.
force feed a little link in there for that links to it, or they won't even let me show it. They'll block it.
Look at this.
But you
here.
know, it should be covered under fair use with all the stuff that we do. So for them
The
to
group
do that is
quality
bullshit. It's a tactic.
has some issues. Admin violations. If content in a group goes against our community standards, we take it down. But if admins create or approve posts that don't follow
Oh, they're
rules,
labeling
more
you for
serious.
false information. Oh, well, if
Good
Facebook
news.
says so, then
No
it must be true.
violations
Oh, no,
to
wait.
show.
If Facebook says so, then it must be true, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. Yes.
Facebook knows
Yes.
everything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make a little quote. I don't think I watch TV. Yeah, that's the kind of mindset we need to get the fuck out of, folks. Because what they're not, they're just up and lying to us, people. Come on. Even the smallest amount of digging around on Google and looking up a couple sources will show you how obvious it is. It's only those who are not willing to do the actual looking that don't see it. If you delegate your power away to a higher authority, you will lose your freedoms. That has been historically always the case. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And what we're seeing occur is this happening on a global scale. But now the only difference is we know who our freaking enemies are. That's the difference. That's a game changer, folks. That means we, the people, have the power to put a stop to it. And I'll leave it on that note. Anybody else want to put any input? Sorry, sometimes I like to just, I had to get that out there. I think people needed to hear that because there's plenty of hope for those who notice the signs and are looking around in the right places. It's all around us.
When we have time, we should test the whoever's.
Oh, did you want to do your little presentation? I know you had that lined up. Are you able to?
Yeah, I can leave the screen now. So let's see how long they'll let me talk.
Go ahead, Jen. Stop sharing real quick so she can show us what she has for us.
I had to pull it up still. Give me just a second.
Uh-huh.
I had to reset my phone because they cut me offline already twice.
That's it.
I'm sure it's being slow.
All right, it'll do it. Just give it a second. Sometimes it's a little bit laggy, that's all.
Everybody, give me just less than a minute, hopefully. Yeah, you notice how they cut me twice now during Hot Topics.
I did. I seen that.
This last time, I think I hit a nerve, so it might be the bad guys.
I mean, anytime we get interference, I always assume it's the bad guys.
But I think it might be, and that's unfortunate for them.
It usually is in our case when we're covering this human trafficking issue. Usually, at least that seems to be the intent from what we can gauge based on our experience as a team. It seems to be malicious, like trying to stop us, like petty, almost, like to the point where they're trying to dissuade us from pushing forward, like hoping they'll discourage us. But all it really does is make us want to push forward even harder.
Right, and I wish the good guys would pay this much attention, then we'd be a lot more
right
ahead of the game. No.
How do we know that we're not the white hats? We don't. I mean, we're part of this as well. Most people don't think of themselves as part of this, but we are. We really are. We have a role to play here, and like, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence, or I would not be fit to have an opinion if I was not doing what I'm doing now. The way I look at it, if I'm not speaking out against it and I know about it, I'm no better than those complicit in it.
I agree.
Because this affects us
It's
all,
at that
folks.
point.
This affects us all, and they're trafficking thousands, hundreds of thousands of freaking kids. I mean, God knows the number. I mean, 800,000 kids a year go missing. Never heard from it. Not a trace every freaking year.
Another thing to include that they have the rehoming event with children through the adoption, so they don't ever go back to the family of origin.
Are you having issues getting your screen to share, Desiree?
So
No, I'm just pulling it up.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not ready to touch base on that tonight, but maybe we'll do it in another one, and it just brings.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, I think we're already running at like a minute an hour and 30 minutes. So it's a good show so far. I think, but we're probably going to want to wrap it up in another 15, 20 probably.
Let's see if I can do it.
Alrighty.
Okay, that's weird.
Well, I don't know if I'll be back on Facebook if I have an account, but you guys know how to get a hold of me.
All you got to do is just create a new Gmail account with whatever name you want to use. Don't really matter. And then just create a new Facebook account. It's a lot easier than most people realize. You don't need to use your real name.
All right. Well, I'll do that.
Can you
A
see
little
it?
little hint and tip for our viewers there. Normally I would have announced something like that on tips, techniques, and survival traits, but it's just as relevant, I think. For those who get banned or blocked.
Can you see it?
Out. No, not yet. No.
Oh, you can't. Okay, hold on. That's interesting.
Are you on your mobile
Wait,
device or
that's
on a
it.
laptop?
Oh, my feature is not available because it slows down my phone. Oh, really?
Wow. Oh, wait, hold on. It's not letting you do it? That's bull. No, try it again. Let it slow down your phone. Screw it. We want to see your presentation. We're not, you can't stop us now. You can't stop us now.
Let me send it to you real quick then.
I can do that. I can share it through my end then.
Okay, it's sending in 2 seconds. And that'll probably be easier. And it's on its way.
Alrighty, cool.
And I'll read it. Do you want me to just start reading it? It's good. And if anybody wants to read
Yeah,
this,
go for it. Go for it. It's still waiting for it to hit my inbox, but go for it.
Page 4, it starts at the bottom. Brought upon the court, number 19, line 24. Misrepresentation. So this is where I outline brought upon the court. Never do attorneys appointed by dependency courts reveal they speak to opposing counsel without informing clients and plaintiffs receive document service on the parent's behalf. They can and do hold secretive hearings without knowledge of parents. In every case before your honorable, these court-appointed attorneys do not say.
Desiree, what page were you on?
objections-
I'm looking at it right now, but I want to be on the same page where you're reading.
5 now.
5? Okay, let me go down here real quick then.
Number 23.
4 and 5, 23. Okay, go ahead.
In every case, is that where you're at?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. So in every case before your honorable, these court-appointed attorneys do not say objections as asked to do so. Court-appointed attorneys do not submit evidence on behalf when asked to do so. 25, have ignored constitutional liberties to the extent of stating the Constitution does not apply here, and there is not time to argue the Constitution. That would be in my personal case. 26, written, stated, sworn, and understood definitions of, quote, representation is nothing of this sort, as it is stated in the dog book, dependency handbook for attorneys, stating their role is to make the process smoother for opposing party and not there to, quote, represent, but is there to mitigate, in fact, a fact to which is never disclosed to distraught parents. 27, these attorneys are forced to follow department lead, which is unstated and unwritten, again, at the department's will, and have court watchers to make sure of this as training states from the capacity building in DC. In other words, if an attorney attempts to properly represent, the department can and will remove them.
28, knowledge of falsity. Parent plaintiffs are told by officers of the court that juvenile dependency is a quasi-criminal or even civil in nature. Neither is fact. Juvenile dependency falls under administrative law, which is regulated by the APA and case law such as Chevron.
Yeah, that's number what? Desiree? Number what? What number is that on the list?
29. At
All
the
right,
bottom,
cool. So, all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Which explains the deference given to agencies. A parent, when pro se or for mere understanding purposes, cannot make sense of what is happening to them in court because of the laws they speak for a reference that has been spoken as superseding the venue is civil or quasi-criminal. Attorneys in courts do not disclose this as fact, tend to pick and pull statutes as they choose to benefit the agency and ignore the law of the land we as Americans know, defend, and have sacrificed all to obtain. 30, intent to defraud. Parents believe, and rightfully so, they will never see their kids again if they do not comply with agency demands, despite and in spite of innocence.
That's 31. And yeah, these bastards here, I want to, just point out what intent to defraud, intent to induce reliance. Okay, that is racketeering. That is fraudulent. That is also malice of forethought. So they had the intent to do this, knowing willingly what they were doing was illegal, and they did it anyway for the money. Is basically what it's saying, folks. Go ahead.
And absolutely, and they induced reliance upon them by stealing your kids. The court-appointed attorneys do not contact or communicate with parents until 10 minutes before the first hearing. This violates the service of paperwork rules of court. 33, a court-appointed attorney in dependency hearings do not benefit if the client wins or trial interaction is of a short duration. Keeping the peace with their peers in the juvenile courtroom rather than representing and presenting parents are of the most importance to them. This is made clear when all entities within the venue enjoy holiday parties and exchange gifts and even enjoy lunch breaks together. The quote, appearance of impropriety exists. The fraud of the action commences soon after. 34. The fact is that all proceedings in the juvenile dependency have pre-printed and pre-durational time frames. This in itself shows the factory, aka process, not an individualized
factory-like process.
Service for families as clearly stated by the Family First Act and all legislative intent acts established by Congress. Children are seized without exigency in nearly every case before you're honorable, and finding of unfitness in the court has not been established prior to removal, as judicial findings have established
And
time.
That was number what for our viewers? 35. All right.
36, after in which return of a children, because this is one of my favorite quotes, you guys. This is a big deal. After in which return of children becomes contingent upon a service that is only rendered if admission of guilt is made. This is a parallel definition of extortion to release bondage of kidnapping. Child being held until service is rendered by parent. Yet, while even at the end of the completion to demanded services for child to return, the agency retains discretion to actually return the child to the parent. The calculation to determine this then becomes the time already stolen and best interest in quotes, with the interest in monetary accumulation county prospectively can claim from child's needs if kept in the system. That's probably one of the biggest things right there.
Okay.
You guys comprehend what it all says. I know it's a lot.
It is, but I think by having it, by having us go over it and read it on the podcast, viewers could go back later and repeat it if they need to really get it down. I find that repetition always helps in that regard, folks. Visualization and repetition. So like have it, that's kind of why we wanted to do it this way, isn't that right?
Right. And the mouthful I just said was they steal your kids and only will return them if they choose to after you comply with their services, but there's still no promise that they'll give this child back, because that all depends on how much time of this child they have.
And a lot of the time they'll, go ahead, finish your thought first.
The county possibly can make if this child goes into foster.
Right, because they make money for every kid that they have to provide service for. They get money, grant money. Okay, so they're keeping up their quotas too, you guys. And not only that, they're it's sick, So like it's a never ending. It's designed to keep kids in constant turmoil.
Right, so
because it makes them money.
Right, the calculation is how much time has this child been out of the care of the parent? How much money is this child worth if we keep them in the system, and can this child be adopted? That then becomes the best interest accumulation.
You want to go ahead and read the next one, or are we just going to do? We're going to do some of them because I see it's pretty long here.
Let's see. Child welfare once contacted by them causes a do or die.
The one before that, justifiable reliance. We haven't read that one yet.
Oh, yes. The next. See, these are the 4 requirements to prove the main topic of fraud upon the court, which is a really hard thing to prove, guys. So,
right. But there's plenty of evidence. They're just straight ignoring it a lot of the time. I've seen in a lot of these cases. I mean, with just each individual case alone, Angie's case has got a ton of evidence. The Bowles family's case got a ton of evidence. The Vicky Bailey case has got a ton of evidence. It's undeniable evidence when you look at it. I mean, they were really, really sloppy in all 3 regards in all 3 cases. I think the problem was that everybody's looking the other way.
They disregard and they refuse to file any evidence. It's not there isn't that exists. It's just they refuse to file.
They're not filing it. They're unlawfully not filing documents that certain petitioners or parents are trying to get filed to exercise their due process, and they're not letting them. They're blocking them by having them given public appointed public defenders. So one of the tactics they're using is if you have a public defender, well, you can't file because your lawyer has to file. So they only have access electronically on the back end to do that. That they didn't in Angie's case. They didn't have a way to do it online on their website, only for lawyers that were part of the bar association. But anyways, that's changed because of the pretrial when she called them out. Audio we've heard on previous shows, and they now have one, of course. But obviously, they're making it almost impossible for her to find the info that she needs. So it doesn't even work for her. But I mean, it looks like it's up at least. I don't know if anybody else has any issues with it. Maybe we could check it out and report back for our viewers soon. Go ahead.
Oh, just the main point. Servitude is required for release of children. And they force housing and drug services. Sorry. So you guys get the point. It's across the board, everybody. It's nationwide. This is a general. This isn't just me.
Can I export this as a PDF for our viewers to look at as a reference? Is that okay?
So yeah, everything I share is shared.
Cool, awesome. We'll do then. We'll be providing this in the description for our viewers after the show, folks.
This is a general class action I wrote based off the ACLU and Sean McMillan's Ferguson case back in the day. So it's a combination of that plus my experience, and it's across the board. Everybody I talk to, nobody gets their paperwork till 10 minutes before the hearing.
Where there's no time to file anything or get anything done.
It can happen to anybody. It's absolute terrorism. I don't know any other way to explain it. And it's all Xavier Becerra's fault. Number 244 states, because he is the head of Health and Human Services. He is very aware of the situation since he was a California AG. So there is no sliding from this one. He knows what's going on. And so does the DOJ. I served sessions back in the day with all of the the paperwork that I had at the time. So everybody knows there's no more hiding. So this is a class action, and I hope someday somebody will take this and run. Hopefully not me, but I probably will have to be the one to do it.
Yeah,
It's
I think
hard,
you're
though.
right, Desiree. I mean, until somebody actually, takes these bastards all the way in criminal and federal court and actually wins, pro se, I think we're not gonna. I think that's gonna be the straw that will make the whole house of cards come down. Hopefully, once one of us is able to make that happen, and we're gathering evidence as a collective, and as a group, as groups of advocates. I know there's more than just me doing these kind of podcasts on this issue, all throughout social media and on the internet. So I just want to, like, collectively as a whole, everything that we're gathering, I think once we get past that certain threshold, and there's going to be a boom, 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 domino effect, but we have to hit that right strategic failure point.
I instructed anyone to join in the fight, actually and seriously. I want a timeline if you're a parent, 1 to 2 pages, and then I will make an exhibit of your story included in this class action, and then we'll need the funding, at least 40 copies for the Supreme Court, and I will send it to SCOTUS, the United
What is the
States
general cost per copy estimate?
10 cents a piece.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all.
When
In
it's
fact, that's not bad at all. In fact, I think we can get enough. If any of the viewers that are watching and need help with their thing, if they want to put together a timeline, just a brief timeline of your case for Desiree, so she can put together, so she can put it in this. What is this again that we just went over? We read for our viewers.
Class action lawsuit against the head of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C. that's in charge of all of it.
Okay, so it's a lawsuit against Department of Health and Human Services in DC that's in charge of the whole thing nationwide. So that's what this is. So she will include, if you want to put together your timeline, she will be happy to include it, but you have to put together a timeline, folks. She needs a timeline so she can organize it properly. So to put together a timeline of your case, brief overview, there's a template in the descriptions for you to use as a reference so you can get started on creating your own how to do it. And then send it either to Stephen Phillips, or you know what, you can send it to Stephen Phillips 26 at gmail.com, or you can also send it to I believe it's admin at newsforus.world. I believe there's a couple others, but you can reach out to us also on our Facebook pages if you want to do that as well. We'll make it happen, but put together a timeline and we'll include it in this as well, in this you guys.
Yeah, and
You're
then we
saying
can
basically, right?
show whoever does complete it, and I could show the world how to do that properly, a 1-page exhibit. After they do their timeline, we could do that on the show. And it's good to go, you guys. This is a preliminary injunction to release your child, the habeas corpus preliminary injunction to immediately release the children back to us based on the illegal seizure at the border is what I framed it on. So I mean,
okay. It supersedes all these courts that are doing this, basically.
Yeah, across the board, it's a class action. It would.
You're basically going right to the head, the top of the food chain, just like my buddy did with his local CPS with his situation. But you're doing it on the federal level.
I would, yes, and you know what? Just to be safe, in case SCOTUS kicks it out, because they only hear what they want, we would also send it to the District of Southern California. I think I have it written.
Okay.
Because
Cool. It's always good to have contingency plans and backups every time, even having a dead man switch of sorts, with easily set up with the tech of today. So that'll always help too, alive as well, I think. When in dire straits,
right.
like Snowden, or even Zachary, I can't remember his last name. He was on Project Veritas in 2019. He was the Google whistleblower that was I featured on episode 2 of my Chips, Techniques, and Survival Tricks. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Zach Voorhees, that's who it was.
Yep. So yeah, there's a plan if you guys are ready. I can't do it alone though.
Yeah, you guys got to put together a timeline for her. You got to do your due diligence, and that's kind of what we teach here. We give people the tools to empower themselves and so they can do these things for themselves and have these skill sets, because that's the only way they're going to get their power back. 1, 2, it's the only way they're going to be able to enforce their due process, and 3, it's the only way that they're going to get any kind of accountability, I think. What do you think about that?
I hope to hear from some people. I really
Yes,
do.
me too. Me too. What do what's your thoughts on that, Jen? Before we wrap it up. Hello, you're muted. Hello, hello, hello. Where are you? Hello,
I'm here.
hello.
I'm here
There you go.
right now. I was just checking out some
All right,
more,
go ahead.
some more laws. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, she did. Nobody knows your case more than you. You experienced it.
Exactly.
So she can't do it for you. She can.
We
She
can point you guys in the right direction with the the team of advocates and people that we know. We can put you in touch with, like Desiree, for example. But nobody's going to do the work for you. You got to do the work yourself. We can help point you in the right direction, give you the tools and the links and the resources to help you file on your own behalf. But ultimately, one has to do the due diligence and do it. Do the work, do the legwork, because it's only you know your case. Nobody knows your case better than you, basically.
That's right. That's right. This timeline is for you and everybody else at the same time. So do it.
And it would also help organize it in a way that Desiree can use to put it into an actual lawsuit filing as well. That helps her to organize it, and it makes it easier for her to go down, the columns and put it, step by step. It just makes it much more streamlined and efficient and organized. And I find that's critical when it comes to getting any kind of work done. You have to have something that's going to be efficient and easy to use. Don't you agree, Desiree?
Absolutely. If you can't put it on paper, you can't tell the story, guys.
Hey, does anybody want to know a state that I didn't mention before
Go
we go?
for it. Go for it. Go
Just for
for it.
fun. Okay, second. Let me pull it up here. Okay, we got. Let me go back here. I'm in the SS. All right. Kansas, no snowballs. It may still be illegal to throw snowballs in Topeka, Kansas, thanks to a weirdly worded law in city criminal code. It is unlawful to throw any stone, snowballs, or any other missiles at a person or property in Topeka. An ordinance that former Mayor Bill in publicity flouted by tossing a whopper at a snowy tree in 2005. I'm going to have an ordinance drawn up and repeal this dumb law for our already crowded prisons filled up with children who, while making a snowman, got carried away and had a snowball fight. Later, he claimed, in Kentucky, no dueling. All public officials and attorneys in Kentucky must swear to an oath that they have not fought a duel with a deadly weapon, nor acted as a second in another person's duel. Good to know now. Unfortunately, when the oath took effect in 1848, many would be clueless, excuse me, turn into murderous street brawls instead. Do you know that Alexander Hamilton was involved in at least 10 duels?
Interesting. What state was that for again?
That was, let me go back here. That was in Kentucky.
Okay. Pick one or two more and then we'll wrap it up. How's that sound?
Okay, let me get a good one to end it here. In Michigan, bounty hunting encouraged, then not. In 2006, every citizen in Michigan was encouraged to be a bounty hunter. In 1941, act titled An Act to Provide for the Payment of Bounties for the Killing off starlings and crows offered any citizens a bounty of 3 cents per each starling killed and 10 cents per crow, so long as they were presented in a state of good preservation. The law was repeated in 2006. One more. Okay, this will be it. Minnesota, no pig greasing. Long winters can be boring, but that's no good reason to hold a grease pig contest in your parlor. Since 1971, it has been considered a misdemeanor to operate, run, or participate in any activity where a pig is oiled up and is released with an object of being recaptured, and that same goes for turkey scrambles. Okay, there you have it, folks.
Interesting.
Yes.
That was really interesting.
Okay, one more.
Go for it. Go for it. One more.
Okay, New Jersey, no murder while wearing a bulletproof vest. It is against the law to murder someone, but in Jersey, it's double against the law to murder someone while you are wearing a bulletproof vest. See if you can follow along wearing a bulletproof vest while committing or attempting to commit a crime of the first degree is a crime of the second degree. Okay, I got to do this one. One more and that's it. I promise. It just gets better and better.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. We got a few minutes.
Okay. All right. The grand finale. New Mexico, redefining indecent exposure. Let's take a break to focus on what's not illegal. Walking around with your butt out in New Mexico, indecent exposure is defined as intentionally exposing one's primary genital area to public view. Buttocks are nowhere to be mentioned. And there in New York, there's no sales tax for sliced bagels. Okay, I snuck another one in.
What was that?
Hang on, let me go back here. In New York, New York sales tax for sliced bagels. If you order a sliced bagel in New York City, I don't know what that word is. If a square deal altered, bagels sliced, toasted, or served with cream cheese, etc., carrying an 8-cent sales tax. Uncut bagels are typically tax exempt. Here's a state with the most psychopaths in the U.S. That'll be next. Okay, next show. But I just thought that would be cool to go. So that was a lamer one than the other one, though. But hey, I can't.
No, that was good. That was great. That was great. It was perfect. I think that was a great way to wrap it up for the night. Thank you guys both for jumping on, and thank you to Shaunes, Shaune. How do I pronounce that? Shaughnessy? Yeah, that's Shaughnessy Butler for doing the interview on an earlier Zoom recording because she figured she might not be able to jump on the live because she always has issues getting on the live interference. We think, anyways. So we got that on there earlier in the day for you guys, and thank you, Jen, for doing the intro, for the first airing of your fun facts, because that was a good segment. I think that was a great way to kind of intro and segue into the show. I think we should do one every week, something a little different. So this week was odd laws in all 50 states. So something similar, but not quite laws, but similar.
Well, I think next one I am going to do the one about the psychopath, the U.S. with the most psychopaths. That's the next one. That's going to be interesting. So, in 13 signs, you're dealing with psychopaths. Okay?
You are though. You are though. But
a
lot of the people that are doing this stuff to these kids that are trafficking, because they are freaking psychopaths. I mean, how do they go to sleep at night? How do some of them have families of their own and go to sleep at night knowing what they're doing? I don't understand where their morals or their sense of ethics or humanity is.
It doesn't matter who you pray to. It doesn't matter who you worship. It's the fact of evil is evil, good is good.
Exactly.
So,
there's certain things that are right and there's certain things that are wrong, and this is clearly far beyond the line of wrong.
Okay, let's see. I don't think my state made it. Oh, yes, it did.
Go for it.
No, I'm just counting. I'm thinking there's like 48. So
you're gonna read it though, right? Read your state.
Okay, I'll read it. Yeah, it's still illegal, but in one state it's not. Okay, here it's illegal. It's illegal to spit on the sidewalk in Indiana. Okay, currently the study has only been pre-published, meaning it is not published in a journal, nor has it undergone peer review. However, according to previous published research, psychopaths often show traits like disinhibition, boldness, and meanness. Boldness corresponds to low neuroticism and high extroversion. Meanness corresponds to low agreeableness and disposition corresponds to, Murphy told courts, now that you know how the scores were calculated, check out the full list. Who made the list? Connecticut, California, New Jersey, New York, and Wyoming. They tied Maine, Wisconsin, Nevada, Illinois, Virginia, Maryland, South Dakota, Delaware, Massachusetts, Arizona, Florida, Iowa, Colorado, Texas, Ohio, Utah, Arkansas, Idaho, North Dakota, Michigan, Alabama, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Louisiana, Kansas, Georgia, Minnesota, Missouri, Washington, Kentucky, Nebraska, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Oregon, Indiana, Mississippi, Montana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, North Carolina, Tennessee, Vermont, and West Virginia. And that's it. That's all that's on the list. So that'll be fun.
That was great, Jen. Thank you very much. All right, so
You're
we're
welcome.
gonna wrap it up here now, folks. And I'm gonna play our new outro advertisement for it's kind of an advertisement. It's for the Bonfire Store, but all the funds that we get from these purchases goes directly to all the CPS and family court corruption Lovisas, or AKA victims. We don't like to call them victims. We call them Lovisas, which means loud warrior. So sacred Lovisa means sacred loud warrior. Therefore, we call all of these folks that have been affected by this CPS corruption issue, especially the mothers who have had their kids taken away, the fathers as well. They are Lovisas, loud warriors. So let's play that little outro, and you guys can get an idea of what you can get from our bonfire stores to support these Lovisas that are fighting so hard, speaking out, getting their stories out there to put a stop to this corruption and end human trafficking once and for all, folks. All right, thank you guys for jumping on. It's been a great show, and we will see you next Sunday, Wednesday. What are we doing Wednesday, Jen, for Fringe Division podcast? Do we have any plans for that yet?
I'm not sure. I'm sure.
I'm thinking we
something.
could do something. We'll come up with something. I have a couple ideas. We'll throw around a couple ideas tomorrow on a Zoom meet or something. Okay, you guys. And then
I
we'll
don't know.
come
I
up with
can't wait.
something. All right, cool. And then also don't forget to catch our Friday episodes of Tips, Techniques, and Survival Traits. Next Friday's episode, or the next episode we do, will be episode 18. Not sure what we're going to cover yet. I have a few ideas, but you'll know as soon as I get the promo out. And then don't miss Sacred Lovisa podcast on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then 8 p.m. Central Daylight and 9 p.m. Eastern Eastern Daylight Time. So those are that's the time for the Sacred Lovisa on Sundays. On the Wednesday and Fridays, it's 2:00 p.m. Pacific Standard, 4 p.m. Central Daylight, and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to show your support and subscribe to all our pages and channels, and follow as well. Thank you again, and check out our website, newsforus.world, as well as our sister site, politicallyincorrectness.com. Good night, everybody.